What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Chris Abacon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So, welcome to another lovely week of cybersecurity news. So, we are in the month of October, which is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So, you'll definitely see lots of posts from me and several of the podcast friends and family that are doing their thing during this month. Definitely continue to check us out on WDJY 99.1 FM if you're in the Atlanta metro area, or on the TuneIn app. We're up to almost 20,000, so we're like 19,000 some change weekly listeners, so we greatly appreciate that. You can also hit up the podcast weekly on your podcast platform of choice, as well as you can check us out in our services at ramcyber.io. You can pick up the guide, which is on sale 40% off all month long, so about $15 plus shipping, at theothersideofthefirewall.com. And then, of course, you can check me out at ryanwilliamssenior.com. But without further ado, I give it to myself. So this week is kind of crazy. So there was an emergency directive that was dropped by CISA. So it is ED 26-01 to mitigate vulnerabilities in F5 devices. So this dropped around October 15th. The background of it is CISA is directing federal civilian executive branch, so FC agencies, to inventory F5 big IP products, evaluate if the network managed interfaces are accessible from the public internet, and apply updates from F5. So what is believed here is nation state has the ability to get into your network through F5 and this current vulnerability. So it's like the hot topic of when you hear this last week. So hopefully you've patched or mitigated this by now. But yeah, this one dropped like very beginning of the week, and I saw vulnerability teams scrambling to get a hold of it and get under control. So I know F5 from my DoD days, right? So we use load balancers like in our area processing centers, right, where we had exchange services, because at one point the Air Force had the biggest Active Directory forest in the world. We worked with Microsoft to make that happen, but since then I think it's been eclipsed by other organizations. But we were like kind of like the test bed, so we had a lot of F5s doing a lot of heavy work. So I'm sure this was a big lift for my brothers in blue when this one dropped. But Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is both a hardware advisory, or rather a mitigation recommendation, right? Or emergency directive, rather. It's not just a recommendation. You got to do this if you do own any of these products from the hardware perspective, but also the software, right? Any devices running big IP 5OS, a big IP TMOS, and then virtual edition, and also their Kubernetes and cloud native network functions, right? So this is a fairly they've got a pretty detailed list of required actions that they recommend you make. One being, first, of course, inventorying, right? Inventorying your devices, all the big IP hardware devices, and all instances of software, like the OS, TMOS, Virtual Edition, Big IP Next, and then all the software and things like that, right? Then next, for anything public facing, right? So it says public facing because, especially in the federal government, they may have some program of record networks that may be closed off, right, from a from like a research and development perspective, or they're in their own little network, right? But if they're public facing, it's definitely recommended that you patch and update your systems, right, with F5 updates. A big one too is physical devices, right? So especially when it comes to end of life, right? So a lot of that comes down to an organization's asset management policies and asset management procedures, and really like that programmatic life cycle that you want to maintain as an organization to ensure that, hey, look, this is out of date, right? A lot of times this is done by security scans. You can do it through some type of, or let's say if you've got third-party vendors, right? So if you've got a third-party vendor risk management program out there that does external scans of your vendors, right, on their public-facing clients, you'll actually be able to see, for example, that your client may be, or your vendor may be using these products, and you want to advise them, or at least let them know, right, and have that communication with that vendor and say, hey, look, we see that you guys are using F5 the products, please patch it, right? So there's a lot of communications that can go that can happen at this regard, right? So if you're a bigger organization like the federal government or any big corporation, definitely, you probably have already done this, right? But for the listeners in general, right, these are the kind of vulnerabilities that come up quite. I would say if it's not just F5, but I think most vendors out there have been subject to some type of advisory or mitigation update like this. Right? So it happens fairly common. Big thing is to be aware of this, all these bulletins, like make sure at least one of your security advisors or providers is always monitoring these types of communications. For the organizations that may not be so tech savvy or mostly that are in manufacturing, or if they're utilizing an MSP, maybe that MSP hasn't reached out to you in a while, just maybe if you may think you may be using F5 products, reach out to your MSP, right? Or go to your server closet and check it out if you guys are using these types of products. So really highly recommend that. But again, a lot of this is on the asset management, hardware management space, right? And then also software licensing and all that management as well. It happens. This happens quite often, I would say, and frequently with certain vendors. And yeah, I think it's up to us as cybersecurity professionals just to make sure that everybody is aware of these things.
No, I agree, and I think it really comes down to for quick mitigation, right? Not to sound like a PSA, but you gotta have a good asset inventory. You have to have a good software inventory. It's the first thing that I look at as an assessor, right? I come in there and I'm like, well, let me see your inventory. Let me see if you know where your stuff is at and what's currently on it. I won't say 9 times out of 10. I'll say 7 times out of 10 is usually incomplete or they're unaware of their assets, unless you're talking to a large organization or the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Your small and mid-sized companies, usually that's something that they're maturing towards because they're growing faster than they're paying people to take care of these type of things. But now you see another example of a nation state actor, which it right speculative. It's China, and they have ability with this to successfully exploit, or I'm sorry, successfully exploit 5 products, which enables them to access embedded credentials and application programming interfaces, so API keys, move laterally within the organization's network, infiltrate data, and establish persistent system access. Which, spoiler alert, that's going to be our next topic as well.
Absolutely.
So, this something like this not being treated could lead to the next topics. I'll jump right into that one. It's a good segue. So this one comes from, or yeah. So I didn't say the last one came from CISA directly. I'm not really good at this. This is Shannon's thing, his
Yeah.
gig, right? Introducing the topics. But this one comes from the Business Times. It is called "China Access Classified UK Systems for a Decade," officials say. And this one was by, doesn't say, but it's also from Bloomberg. So maybe it's an article about an article. But in this one, London is saying that Chinese state actors systematically, and successfully compromised classified UK government computers systems for more than a decade, according to 2 former senior security officials and other government officials familiar with the matter. So this was the antithesis of a persistent threat, right? Like a
Mm-hmm.
decade. How many credentials can you steal? How much data can you exfiltrate? How many secrets can you over a 10-year period? Like that is ridiculous. So this one is not speculative. They're saying China was directly at hand here and they were able to get into their systems, move around, and basically set up a little base camp and watch that as it moved around. Said that they were able to access their most sensitive government information and systems on which it is stored, and they compromised them. So, Chris, what's your thoughts?
I think just reading kind of through the article. So the UK's classified structure goes from official, sensitive, secret, and then up to, I believe, top secret, right? Based on this, right? That said, luckily for the UK, that the top secret information has not been compromised, right? So I would assume that they've got their own circuit, or their own, separate, a good separation, right, from the secret and top secret, which is understandable, right? But that being said, having that, if you think about APT, advanced persistent threat, they've literally persisted in their networks for 10 years, right? So that kind of goes to show you, through rounds and rounds and hundreds and maybe thousands of scans, right? They were able to maintain their presence over 10 years, which shows you the level of compromise across the board. So that means through every update, through every inventory of the asset, through life cycle of the assets, right? Because 10 years is a long time. Like how many iterations of hardware do you go through in 10 years, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think
Through
about that.
all that,
Yeah.
through all that, they were compromised. So that just shows you that, there's obviously there's some advanced techniques out there, right? That are only privy to these advanced persistent threats, right? That to me shows that they were able to replicate throughout servers, right? Throughout, maybe it's on their network infrastructure. I'm not sure, right, as to the details of this compromise. They don't go into that, right? But 10 years is a long time, right? And it's a long time to do a lot of damage and get a lot of information. So effectively, they, didn't have, you know, classified, at least not top secret, but secret information. That was effectively open book for the most part to the Chinese. That's a lot. That's a long time. That's a lot of intel that they have. It's a lot of operational information, movement information, right? So if you look at like the types of information that can go into a secret system, just do a quick Google search, right? Movement of personnel, where people are. There's just a whole host of things that could go wrong, right? When if anybody has access to this, so it's quite the feat, right? It's quite the feat, but there is some political, ramifications to this, at least from their perspective. China's trying to build an embassy in London. How is that going to, affect this? How is this part of that? Again, like the geopolitics of the big powers are quite complex. We're allowing them to have an embassy here, but they're also spying on us. I don't know, right? There's a whole host of geopolitical ramifications to this, but I think it's a well-known, not so secret thing that everybody, all these big countries, all the superpowers they have to, they spy on each other at some level. And this is just one example that was publicly stated by a government, right? There's probably a lot of the times we don't know, because some countries will not advertise that they have been compromised by a certain nation state actor due to the sensitivity of that compromise, right? And the optics and the optics behind it as well. So those are my thoughts, Ryan. What do you think?
No, absolutely. What's weird though is the like you said, the disclosure. Perhaps it is politically motivated, and that's why they
Mhm.
disclosed it. Because, and like you said in the report, it says that they're trying to build, in I quote, a mega embassy. I don't even know how big a mega embassy is, but that's got to be
It's like a
humongous.
mall.
Right. So, and there's pressure to deny the application. So they have not built it yet, right? So this may
Hmm.
be but they may have publicly put this out here to damper those efforts as well. Like, hey, we know you're spying on us, and on top of it, there's a lot of pressure for you not to build your mega embassy on our soil. So let's disclose. But I don't know. Like what really bothers me though is, like you said, a decade of presence. So how much? Because even if it wasn't top secret information, like you said, secret and below, it's the aggregation of data, right? Like before things hit the level of top secret, usually it bubbles at unclassified and secret, and then from there, that information is then used to write these TS reports, or to migrate that data up to a higher classification. So they're at a level where they're able to take this and aggregate that data. They know troop movements. They understand future plans and things of that nature. So them being part of Five Eyes really puts a little bit of a sting on it, because how much information from the other
Right.
organizations was also collected, right, from the U.S. and so forth. So it just makes you kind of a messy partner in that
Hmm.
regard. A lot of what we did when we were working for the Joint Communication Support Element was building instances of people's networks, right? So just think like if you took a COCOM and they're, working with, the equivalent with the UK, like how much data could have been siphoned or sourced from that. Like we have a lot of good firewalls and separation of data and things of that nature. But when it comes to, some of our closest allies and partners, we share information. So that does make me a little worried in that regard. How much information were they able to collect from associated nations in that respect? But I don't know. Like, who's to say that China's not floating around our systems, right?
That's true. I mean, I'm thinking about all the mission partner environments that we've had to work with, right? And what their interplay is with that secret system is if there's any shared information sharing between that, then it shows you, hey, at least from the exercise perspective,
Right.
right? They know when our exercises are happening, or at least will be happening. So maybe like you said, the future ops and the planning process is compromised. So that's
Yeah.
that's a big
They're,
that's a
they
big loss there.
again, techniques, tactics, and procedures, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't think anybody does.
All right, move. Like, this has been a very, I don't know what to call it. This week has seen a lot of topics dealing with the federal government or nations and things of that nature. So we're rolling right into another one, right? And this one is our topic of discussion. So this one comes from USA Today. It is called or titled "Fed Sees 15 Billion with a B worth of Bitcoin and pig butchering scams that used forced labor camps." So this one was written by Theo Wen, I believe is how you would pronounce her name. And I chose this one because, again, it was going with the theme, but this is the largest seizure of Bitcoin from scams. So I think we talked about it last week, or no, I'm sorry, that was the collaboration week. The week before last, we discussed how in a northern province of China, I want to say, they put like 11 people to death for such activities, right? From phishing scams and forced labor. And there were also some deaths attributed to it as well. And this caused the Chinese government to put several members of a crime family to death, which was kind of crazy. So we spoke about that. But in this case, federal authorities have seized about 15 billion worth of Bitcoin in alleged fraud and money laundering schemes that use trafficked workers in Southeast Asia to defraud victims in the United States and around the world. Prosecutors announced on October 14th. So again, these romance scams, pig butchering, things of that nature. This is when uh, privacy, risk, and cyber all kind of intersect, right? I find it fascinating, especially the risk aspect of it, because I had on Angela Diaz on one of the previous episodes, and she talked about her career and risk and how she sees a lot of romance scams and things of that nature in the banking sector, banking, not baking, banking sector,
Baking.
where people are especially people who are a little bit older in age find romances online, believe they're real people, and these people siphon money from them over time. It could be a lot of money, and in this case, you see, like this is they clawed back 15 billion. So how much was really out there?
171 Bitcoins. A
Ridiculous.
lot of Bitcoin.
I just want one Bitcoin.
You give me one, baby.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it's crazy how, like, I'm not faulting people because, like, they will always be your weakest link, right? Like when it comes to social networking and the psychology of, like, people have been being scammed from the days of pen pals all the way now till that, to the electronic age. So that has not changed, but the severity of use, right? Like the ability to get somebody to hey, Zelle me some money, sign up for my GoFundMe, donate this. Like, it's much easier to get money from people in this regard. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I mean, one of the first things I thought is that one, like I think we started talking about kind of the human element of this and how we as humans are culpable to scams, right? Emotions, things like that. And actually got me thinking about AI, right? And like remember when GPT-4 was sunset and people were going to lose those relationships they had with AI.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah. So
they're, they're
that's
friends in quotes. Yeah,
yeah, so that kind of made me think like, again, AI can be used to, manipulate people into giving them money, right? and it's made it easier than ever with AI. If they're, not necessarily English speakers, they can use translation services and things like that to be able to commit these frauds, right? But it's interesting, these trafficked workers in Southeast Asia. So we can think of usual suspects: Philippines, we're talking Thailand, right? Very popular spots for tourists, maybe older tourists, right? And to go, and yeah, I could definitely see the advanced techniques being utilized to get money from these people, right? Probably a lot of people with a lot of money, right? And as to I'm not sure if they're using the level of detail that goes into, maybe they're using Bitcoin to fund and launder money, right? The Bitcoin wallets, right? But again, it's a very, very complex process in that regard, right? So what's interesting here is that this ZG guy, right? He is the mastermind behind there's a fraud empire that he's operating under the Prince Group umbrella. So it's literally a criminal enterprise built on human trafficking, stated by John Eisenberg here at the NDS. But like they were the traffic workers, according to him, were in quotes, were confined in prison-like compounds and forced to carry out online scams on industrial scale, preying on thousands worldwide and many here. And many are here in the United States. So it's literally a compound of trafficked people that had to essentially text, do what they got to do, message people, right? Even maybe send fake SMS messages or whatever it might be, but Instagram or WhatsApp messages, things like that. So, this is essentially forced labor that was being done, right? He does face a maximum penalty of 40 years in prison if he's convicted, but it's pretty the amount of profits that this generated, right? $15 billion operation with trafficked people. So you imagine the margin in that. This guy was probably sitting pretty in his yacht while all these people working, right? If they were trafficked, they probably said something to the effect of, they're threatened, their families are threatened if you don't stay here, right? That's what a lot of times, that's how it happens, right? We're going to kill your family back at your home country if you don't work for us. That's what happens. And unfortunately, like that those mind games they play, that's how they get people to work for them, right? The compounds consisted of vast dormitories surrounded by high walls, barbed wire, and functioned as violent labor camps. What? This is unreal, how the level of depravity that's being implemented upon other humans, right? How can me, it's like, how can somebody just exploit people willy-nilly like this? It's pretty horrific, right? And again, this is kind of the criminal enterprises that are happening really all over the world, right? This stuff exists on this planet, which is, it's kind of sad to say. But these guys were living a lavish lifestyle: private jets, vacation homes, collectibles. And even they talk about a Picasso painting purchased through an auction house in New York City. So it's pretty vile, really, right? This is like villain level stuff you'd see in the movies, you know.
Yeah, this could be a Netflix film.
Yeah, absolutely, a Netflix film. Maybe I could see a Netflix film based on like the survivors, right? People that used to work in this, and this could definitely be a Netflix route, right? But again, like with freedom of currency and stuff like that, crypto is there's unfortunately some because of its set anonymity, there is a willingness of it's just rife for scams and corruption. So that's kind of the crypto coin world, right? It's the de facto underground money laundering method of choice, right? It's no longer just exchange of a cash. It's all Bitcoin or whatever other cryptocurrency out there, right? But anyway, those are kind of my thoughts, Ryan. There's a lot to unpack, and we could probably go dive deeper into this rabbit hole.
Definitely. So, kind of it's the human aspect that really bothers me. It's the
hmm
you cannot feed these people. Like when it comes to receiving phishing attempts, when it comes to pig butchering or romance schemes. Like I hate to victimize the victims, because both sides have victims in it, right? Like the people who are being forced
hmm
to perform these labors, and the people who are wanting to believe that this is a real relationship, and then give them money and things of that nature.
hmm
But it's a weird chicken and egg situation. So I think on our part, we have to say that stop falling for this. You know what I mean? Like you are not only hurting yourself, but potentially hurting someone else overseas who is being forced into this type of labor by you feeding, the stray cats. If you're targeted and you receive an email and this person's saying like they're a prince and they need to send you money, don't fall for it. If you are being wooed by someone who is much younger or very attractive, right? You need to do
Hmm.
your part because you're being catfished to not uh, interact with this person, or just simply throw that picture into Google image search, and I bet you it's somebody else, right? The small things you can do to verify who another person is, but the problem is that you want to believe, and that's the sad part. There's a lot of lonely people, unfortunately, who want to believe these are real people, right? That want to interact with them and have a relationship with them. So that's the part that bothers me the most, that human psychology is not just someone calling and getting passwords, right? Pretending to be like an IT person. This is a person who is establishing a relationship with these people in order to continue to siphon money from them and make them feel better, about themselves or their circumstances. And you just have to fight. You have to fight the urge.
One technique I know is that like we've probably seen this on our social medias is that let's say you follow someone, right? Let's say there's some type of finance influencer or whatever it might be, and then you notice that they want to follow you back. But then you see, oh, that's not the same account that's trying to follow me back. They just took all the pictures and videos from that real account and made their own and called it an alt account, right? And messed up the name or added like a number to the name or something to that effect, making it look like it's the official account that you've seen before. That's one way they get you. People use social engineering techniques to try to get you to believe something that isn't true. And you are going to be vulnerable because you'll be excited. Oh man, this guy's following me or wanted to chat me up. Like, what's going on? Just be careful. Be careful of anything. Like I think Ryan said it best. Like if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I hate to be so blunt, but if they're way out of your league, right? They're 20, 30 years younger than you, they're very
Yeah, man.
attractive. That's not real. You know what I mean? Like you just have
Mhm.
to you have to be realistic. And I don't know. I don't want to be hurtful to those who are out there who want to
Right.
believe. But yeah, don't fall for it,
Absolutely.
because you could be hurting somebody, right? There's somebody on
Yeah.
the other side of this who could potentially be in a camp somewhere,
Mhm.
being made to do this to you. So just be vigilant. That's all I gotta say. Uh, I don't know. It's a weird segue.
Weird segue, right?
Weird segue. But Chris, we haven't seen you in a couple weeks, man. How has your life been? What have you been up to?
It's been good,
Yeah.
actually, right? So I've been gone for a few weeks because I've been kind of in study mode. I'm taking my CCP exam later this month. I'm sorry, CCA exam. So it's the CMMC Certified Assessor exam later this month. So I've been studying for that. Just kind of just been uh, calibrating my mind to be back in test mode. The last test I passed, at least big one, was like the CISM earlier this year. But I did achieve a few Microsoft certs in that. Like they're more the foundational stuff, right, from at a high level. But this one is kind of the first like bigger cert that bigger longer exam that I have to study for. So these CMMC exams are very long, right? So it's just preparing yourself mentally for that. It's a lot of work, right? With the amount of information that you gotta like have memorized and just right. So it's a lot of stuff. So it's been good.
So break it down though. Like, so what will this certification allow you to do?
It will allow me to be part of a C3PO assessment team for CMMC assessments. So I'll be a CCA that can assess level 2 practices within CMMC, right? So to like qualify as a lead CCA, you'll need 3 years of assessment experience, and then that lead CCA can do quite a bit more than a standard CCA, like validate scopes for the scope of a project for organizations seeking certification. They are the first point of contact when it comes to any disputes, right? In terms of the assessment objectives, if there's, they're essentially the lead for the C3PAO in that regard. But it's a very cool, what's the word here? It gives you a lot of opportunities, right? Work with a lot of C3PAOs, right? And it's a good it's a big career move, right? And we know the CCP, CCA, that journey is quite pricey, but it's I started last year, and then this year finally getting the CCA, right? So it's been a quite the journey to get here, right? But it's finally culminating in this exam, so it's exciting for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. On that, right? On Been watching a lot of anime recently, actually, right? Anime and sports, so it's kind of like
It's a nice combination right there.
yeah, right. Anime and sports. From the sports side, it's football, right? Watching the Vikings run leave last week, break, right? They were on their bye week. But there's some good football, right? My fantasy team's doing really well with the Rico Dowdle stepping it up in Carolina in his revenge game against Dallas last week. So hopefully he does well against the Jets this week as well. But for anime, right? I actually started watching, I haven't watched anime in a while. All right. So we started watching Erased, right? So my wife and
Man,
I,
yeah, it's a good one.
Erased.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
that's
good one.
like a good entry into like anime, just like it's kind of it goes into the that's what's awesome
It's
about
like a
anime.
psychological thriller.
Psychological thriller,
Yeah,
supernatural, time travel type. Not necessarily time travel. Actually, it is time travel, but it's different type of time travel,
right.
I would say. It's not your, typical, oh, go through the portal or use this device to travel in time and change the future. It doesn't work like that. It's a little bit more nuanced, and I like that. Right? It's cool. It's great. And then we start watching like Apothecary Diaries, which is it's kind of a cute anime about Chinese during like a fictional version of the Ming Dynasty, but it follows this apothecary main character who does essentially investigations and problem solving for like these houses and I would say upper rank people for this Chinese empire, right? It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool anime. And then we also finished the first season of Freyren, if you guys are familiar with that. That's a famous
Yeah.
fantasy anime.
So yeah, I watched half of the first season.
Oh, it's so good.
I just heard that they're on I don't know if it's the third or fourth season that's coming up, but they're on an indefinite pause because the animators needed a break. It was breaking them.
Yeah, the animation of that
Yeah.
is amazing. But did you watch the first 28 episodes?
Almost. I think
Yeah.
I'm through like 16 or
Oh,
17 or
it's
something
so
like that.
good. It's so good. I like those types of anime where it's kind of cool because it goes through like the first few episodes are so cozy. It's like, oh yay, exploring reflecting on my time as a hero, part of the hero's journey, and then it goes to some pretty amazing action and magic scenes. It's pretty cool. I was actually like thinking about this the other day. It's like you watch anime's portrayal of wizards and mages. It's just like sorry, it's way better than anything like Harry Potter. Like that stuff's weak compared to anime versions.
Right.
It's just like killing spells. Like it is just so much more creative in anime. At least in this, it's just and all the types of offensive spells and stuff like that. Versus I just think that just to be able to animate in an anime format lends itself to being just way more creative than
Right.
CGI. Right, and you can pace your action better. I'm always on the camp that anime is a superior medium for storytelling, in my opinion. And I like I was talking to my wife about it. It's that internal dialogue that they have. You don't get that internal dialogue in
Right.
regular TV shows. Like how people joke about it. Like how what's that thing with on social media where Deku from My Hero Academia is having a monologue and he's like, "Look, it's a gamer girl."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a Twitch streamer that does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but I think, in anime, right, it gives you a lot of context, right? It gives you, hey, this is how the main character is feeling right now and what he's thinking. And they do that also with like the villains. They'll have like their internal monologues and they'll be like, how do you block it? How do you block that spell? Right? You don't get that in, like you're not thinking about like Thanos and he's having a monologue, but he's not doing it internally, right? You don't
Right.
get that
Yeah.
internal monologue. It's just such an anime thing. Is it a trope at this point? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
It
'Cause
it is
yeah.
it's a type of I think it's a type of writing technique, right? Reserved for like, when you read a book, right? They'll say something in quotes and then you'll read their thoughts, right? Of that. Like they felt this way or they felt the rush of whatever coming through throwing through their body, whatever. You get that in anime, but you don't get that in live action, right? And then what else? The British Bake Off, right? Isn't its I would say it's almost in its quarterfinals next year. So we've been watching that every week. And yeah, that's been pretty much my past few weeks, right? A lot of studying and anime. Can't beat that. How about
No,
yours, Ryan?
you definitely can't. So I've been playing a lot of Ghost of Yote. So
Nice.
amazing. Ghost of Tsushima came out back in the PS4 days. Didn't really click with me for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But the FOMO was getting me. People were talking about Ghost of Yote pretty heavily, so I downloaded it. I've been playing it. I think I have like 20 hours in it, and it's a revenge tale, right? It's like your Kill Bill type tale, or if you played Assassin's Creed Shadows, kind of similar to that, but they're called the Yote Six, and you're exacting your revenge. I've only revenged two of them so far after 20 hours. So I'm sure if I mainlined it, I could be probably done or close to done with it by now. But I'm doing all the
Mm.
side stuff. I'm helping out villagers. I'm leveling up and learning new skills. So I'm enjoying it, right? Getting lost in that world, and graphically, it's super impressive. I'm playing it on my PS5 Pro, and it has a Pro mode that does global illumination, ray tracing, 60 frames. So it looks amazing. Like sometimes it looks photorealistic, even though it has its own style. Like loving it. So I think I'll continue to dive deeper into this world and continue to play around with that. And anime wise, my son has put me on, my oldest son, he put me on to Lord of Mysteries. I don't know if you heard of this one.
Ooh,
So
Lord of Mysteries.
it's a Chinese anime, but it's already on Funimation, subbed and dubbed, and it's one of those kind of like Attack on Titan where it kind of throws you into the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he read all the manga. He's always like this is important, or hey, make sure you pay attention to this because it'll resurface later on. You'll be like, oh, they already told me. Like I already had all the information. I just didn't have the context. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of how this anime is. Usually I don't get down with animes that are set like in the I don't even know what you say, like maybe Industrial Revolution uh of Europe.
Anime can be set anywhere, and it's gonna be awesome. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's really
yeah,
good. Lots of supernatural, lots of like you said, character inner monologues
yeah, right,
going on. Because this character is kind of like Tropic Thunder. Like he's a guy playing a guy who's playing a guy. He's like I'm a
right.
dude playing a dude dressed as another dude. That's kind of what this character is. So it's pretty cool so far. I think I'm like 5 or 6 episodes in. Well, there's only one season out so far. I think my son said it's scheduled for 6 seasons and 3 movies. Like that's how big this thing is gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can get down. Like as long as you tell me it's gonna be, because usually I don't get down with more than a season or two of anime. But if I know it's gonna wrap up, like it's not a One Piece situation or a Dragon Ball, Z situation where I know,
Like
okay,
200 for a long
yeah,
haul. Yeah.
this many episodes are potentially gonna hit me, right? So I'm cool with that. So I plan on watching it with him. It's a good bonding experience. Aside from that, man, I waiting on potentially some funding to pursue my CCP. Is that the first one? CCP?
CC. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I want to hopefully jump on that before the end of the year. I'm just waiting to see if someone's going to front that. Like you said, they're very expensive certifications, so seeing if somebody's gonna take care of that for me. And then yeah, just hanging out with the family. It's spooky season, so that's about to jump off, right? Halloween. I'm in a panel coming up at the end of the month, cybersecurity plus AI with Dorenzic. Um, Aisha Holland, friend of the show, she's in the guide as well. Make sure you pick up the guide. 40% off. That's like $15. That's like two Happy Meals nowadays, all right? But this
Mm-hmm.
will potentially, empower you, impress you, and, set you off on your journey. So definitely pick it up. The other side of firewall.com is where you can pick it up at. But I'm going to jump on one of her panels. A bunch of amazing people are on it. I can't wait. The description will be in the episode, or I'm sorry, the link to the panel will be in the description of the episode, as well as I have a networking event coming up. So I'm going to go to Orange Call. I don't know if you've been to one of those yet, Chris,
I have
since.
not actually. So for those listening, orange is the Army signal color. Army signal is core color. So that should be fairly interesting. Was that on LinkedIn? Did you get that
It
invite?
is. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it with you. they're gonna put up a slide. I got like 2 minutes to introduce myself type situation. But yeah, it'd be cool to have another friendly face in there. But I have not done a military, active duty military anything
Hmm.
since transitioning out, right? So there'll be some active people in there as well as some vets and some retirees as well. And it's got a lot of our JCSC alumni in there. So it'd be cool to tie it all together. And it's not on base, it's adjacent. It's at the American Legion near the
Right
bay.
on. That's right on Gandhi, I think. Actually, it's
Yeah,
close
so
to.
it won't be as tough to get in and out of there. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
cool. I like to introduce myself.
I haven't been on a Navy or I haven't been on any military base since I left the military.
I go once a year.
Yeah,
Yeah, because usually it's for to pick up like a holiday present.
right on
Like,
at
yeah,
the base exchange.
yep, I'll,
Yeah,
I'll pop in, see if they got a deal going on it, and buy something. But I try to limit it only because, like, I don't do military stuff anymore, right? So I don't just
yeah.
want to be hanging out on base. On top of it, that drive, like, if I don't have to commute, I'm not commuting. It's not gonna
It's
happen.
like an hour long for you. Like it's not
Yeah,
an hour and a half. You
yeah,
know.
it's a very long drive. So I'm excited to go there, introduce myself, meet some new friends because I've been doing a lot of the 4 block meet and greets as well, like going
Hmm.
there, meeting people. Like, so
The
I'm
4 block
getting,
meet and greets. I was gonna go to the one in was it Wesley Chapel?
yeah, that was the last one.
But it's like so far from me. Should be closer to downtown.
So
Yeah,
they,
but
so
it's
they,
like
they,
down the street from you.
yeah, it's like literally down the street from me. So I was like, I gotta go to it, right? But
Yeah.
I've been getting more active, right? Like, so the past couple of years, not that I wanted to get away from the military, but right, I'm changing things up. I want to get in the mindset of being more civilian and doing more civilian things. So I kind of just did all of that stuff. So
Mhm.
now, it's fun to, talk to people who are transitioning out of the military or to catch up with people who are, also on the same journey as me as veterans and
Right.
things of that nature, right? So I've been dabbling a little bit more, and having a good time. So, uh, I'm excited about. So that'll be the end of this week, right? So I'll do both of those things this week, and then Halloween hits us, and then it's November, man. We're off to the races, holidays. So
Yeah,
excited about
absolutely.
that.
Good times, good times.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about a race. There's a live action race on Netflix.
There is.
Oh, yeah. So I finished the anime and then I watched the live action. I was like, it's pretty good.
Was it live action
Yeah,
pretty good?
yeah, it's pretty good.
In my search for it, like when we were looking for it, right? I think I saw it. There's a live action on Netflix, right?
Yeah, yep.
I was like, "There's no way we're watching that first. We're watching the anime
No,
first."
no, yeah, you gotta watch the anime
Period.
first. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but the
need that.
live
Yeah,
action was pretty good. They did a good job with it. So I was like, oh, okay, not too bad. But yeah, you got to do the anime before you do the live
I'm
action.
like, I've actually like, I don't know. Maybe it's just my internal bias against live action, but ever since the Dragon Ball movie, you know,
Yeah, that was
I've just
terrible.
been like, oh, I don't want to watch this stupid live action anymore. But maybe I should give one a shot one of these days. We never know. Like I think Death Note has live action, right?
When
No,
uh,
and Death Note's amazing, but
yeah, the
yeah,
live
that
action was not so much. They had Willem Dafoe in it, which was cool.
okay.
He plays the demon-like character. But
Hmm.
aside from that, or the same thing with Full Alchemist, like, because it's too much content to put into one thing, right? So
Yeah,
it's like,
Full Metal Alchemist is so nuanced, right? I can't imagine they would have to skip so much stuff in a live action. I think if they wanted to get it in within a decent amount of time, right?
yes, it's no bueno. But yeah, so that pretty much it just wraps it up for me, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
get ready for the panel. Gonna do the meet and greet go to the Orange Call. Of course, Halloween is right around the corner, and I got a couple interviews to put out there. So I did two Ask a CISSPs that have not been published yet. So I have to work on those to get them showroom ready. And I think I have one coming up with Aisha Islands as well. So that one will also probably go up this month for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So, but yeah, man, it was good catching up with you.
Likewise,
Thank you all for listening again. Like almost 20,000 weekly listeners on the radio. Like that's amazing. So definitely continue to check us out on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern on WDJY 99.1 FM in the Atlanta metro area or simulcast on the TuneIn app, as well as you can check us out every week on the normal podcast platforms of choice. I update the websites all the time. So if you go to ramcyber.io or ryanwilliamsenior.com, I put the latest episodes on there as well. Or you could just Google us. If you Google us, it'll take you right to, we have like almost 900 episodes. So plenty of episodes for you to check out, as well as grab the guide. So guide is 40% off all month long for Cyber Security Awareness Month. So go to theothersideofthefirewall.com, pick up the guide from me for the discount, or you can buy it full price if you want to. Go Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart.com, many various retailers, as well as I'm advertising our services. I'm always plug. I know the government shut down right now, but if you are a small to mid-sized business that's in the civilian sector, we also offer VCSO and services as well as assessments, things like that on ramcyber.io. So definitely check us out there. Yeah, stay safe, stay secure.